Hey guys, thanks for coming back today. We are excited because we get to talk to the amazing Harry and Kelly Roesner. We've been good friends with them for many, many years. But I think one of the most important things about their journey is how they are as parents and who they are as a couple. They've been in some form of church leadership for over 20 years. So that's a very long time and very impressive. And I am really looking forward to chatting with you guys.
Yeah,
Us too.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, super excited to have you guys.
Yeah.
And I know you've seen the podcast. We really kind of like to talk about people's journey and their testimony with Jesus, when they got saved, what that was like, how they met, if they're married. Excited to talk about that. And really kind of what I really want to get to with you guys is just what's impacting you today in what God's doing in the world. You know, how you see that kind of unfolding and how it impacts you and your family and just how you guys navigate that. So I kind of was hoping to get to that today, but I think it'd be a great place to start. Just tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us how you got saved, how old you were. Like, let's hear it.
All right.
Well, I guess I'm going to start, but I'm going to lead into Kelly because I actually got saved through Kelly. So
That's amazing.
yeah. So I grew up Catholic.
Sure.
One of 9 kids, so it was pretty much everyone goes to church every Sunday, but I never had that relationship. I knew who God was, but it wasn't really, hey, this is a relationship. I know what God is and all that. And about 18, I kind of walked away from it and said, this isn't for me. I just want to see what my life's going to look like.
Yeah.
And I just stepped out. And probably 4 years or 5 years, I met her, and I went up north after we were dating for a little while, and she talked to me about God a bit, and I was kind of interested, but I was really interested in her, obviously.
Oh, okay.
I was like, wait a minute, let's slow down. Might want to.
And
He had intentions coming up to win my mom's heart. And
Sure.
right when he got up there, he cooked dinner, he cooked breakfast, and my mom was like, marry this man.
Amen, I agree.
I'm the cook.
Nice.
I started out cooking, and I won them over, but I was really freaking out because she told me her mom was a holy roller. One of those swinging from the chandeliers
I did not.
Christians.
I did not say those things.
That's what I thought about when I heard,
Right.
a born-again Christian. That's
Sure.
what I thought about, know. And so I'm just freaking out, and I meet her, and she's just a huggy, sweet, loving person,
Awesome.
and it's like, oh, well, this is a lot different than I expected. And by the end of the weekend, I met this guy who was the lady who saved her mother.
At age 36,
Wow.
an older couple who just had such a heart for the Lord. They ran a church, or a home church right
Yeah.
out of their house, had brought many people to the Lord in a 30, 40-year time frame.
Wow.
And the second they heard that Kelly brought her boyfriend up, Jack and Mary Ashford, off they go to the house, and they had to make sure that he was saved.
And they did. It was a really interesting experience though, because we went. Where did they live? In the woods or something? At least it felt like the woods. But we drove into their house, and it was springtime, and I'm just sitting there on a couch like this, and he gets right in front of me. He says, "Do you have Jesus in your heart?" And I'm like, well, I know, gave the standard Christian answer, and then he goes, no, do you have a relationship? Do you have Jesus in your heart? And I said, no. And he said, do you want to? And I said, yeah.
Wow.
And then, so I did, and he gave me the prayer, and we walked out of that house and started driving back. And that same road, it was like all the colors. It was like spring just blew up. And I'm like, why does it look so different? And she said, well, you got the Holy Spirit on you now. So it was just a really amazing experience, just feeling God's presence right then and there.
How old were you?
I was 23.
Wow.
So it was about 23.
So about our age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very similar.
Well, yeah.
Well, your age.
It's odd.
Right.
You know Carl's much older.
Yeah. stealing that baby. But after that, I actually had a trauma coming back. I actually called you the next day. I was at work, and I thought I lost my relationship with Jesus.
Sure.
And I called her, and I'm all freaking out, like, what do? I don't think I have it anymore, because I had this glory experience with him all over me, and then it's like, well, I'm back to work and everything's normal.
Right.
And so I go in that, she says, just pray and just say, God, show me. And he did. He gave me, I was literally looking at the TV. It wasn't on. It was like at dusk, and I'm just praying to God, saying, Lord, just make it so I know you're real. And it was like a dove came out of I just had this vision of a dove coming out and just encompassing the room.
Wow.
Where it was all lit up. So
it's amazing.
I mean, so he got me at that point. So
Brilliant.
and I didn't move off from there. But her story's a little earlier than mine.
You want me to start from the beginning? I come from a family of 3. My parents, I have an older sister and a younger brother.
So you're the middle child.
I'm the middle child.
She is.
I was, my persona growing up was Miss Goody Two Shoes. Surprise, surprise.
Normal middle child.
Exactly.
I'm going to be honest, I'm not shocked at all by that statement.
Just ask my sister. But my sister, the avenue she went as a kid, it was, she got into trouble, and so I never got caught for anything because she was always having more problems than I was. So
Nice.
I thank her for that often.
Yeah.
Even if I did do something wrong, I never got caught.
That's brilliant.
I come from a divorced family, lived in northern Michigan. My parents divorced when I was in 5th grade. I grew up like Harry Catholic.
Sure.
A very strong, devout Catholic family. After my parents divorced, my mom went through a rough spot.
Sure.
And thankfully, in the middle of her chaos, she found the Lord with the same man.
good.
Yeah, that led Harry. And her life changed, and our life changed, and she took us out of Catholicism into a home fellowship. And at first I was pretty stubborn, like, this is just weird. Now my mom's praying about everything. What the heck? And it took me a little bit to adjust to it.
Sure.
All swinging off on
Swinging
the
the
chandeliers.
chandelier swingers. They're going to appreciate that.
Yep.
So after she became saved, I just had some really wonderful people come alongside me and say, hey, would you like to teach Sunday school to our 3-4-year-olds? And I'm thinking, this is, are you crazy?
Right.
It's pretty crazy. I don't even think I had asked the Lord into my heart. I knew Jesus.
Right.
I believed in Jesus. I believed in God.
Yeah.
Just going through all the steps of Catholicism.
Yeah.
And I don't want to knock Catholicism
No, not at all. No, I understand.
at all. I just didn't find relational Jesus
Yeah.
in Catholicism.
Yeah.
My dad was actually quite impressive because he could sit through a Catholic Mass just like this with his eyes closed through the whole thing and sleep. And I was like, quite gifted.
That's a talent.
That is.
That's talent.
That's
I tried a few times.
So anyhow, when we left Catholicism and went into this other environment, it was definitely quite the shock. But having people come up and say, hey, I believe in you and I want you to teach our kids. And I babysat for a lot of the toddlers. So I actually, as I taught these little Bible lessons, I learned about Jesus through it.
It's amazing.
And I'm very thankful. It's something you're not really thankful at the time, but when you look back at the small things that people did like that, and they just believed in me.
So cool.
So I was 13. I was all by myself, and I remember having a conversation with my mom, and I remember her saying, well, what about asking Jesus into your life and be Lord of your life? And I'm like, Mom, you can't do anything with that without asking God. It's like you don't have a mind anymore. I was pretty Yeah, I
A
was.
little
That's actually
opinionated.
really- yeah.
A little.
No. Well, it's good to know you grew out of that.
Can't wait for it.
Oh my gosh! And I remember saying to her, "Mom, he's way up there. I'm down
Sure.
here. Like, how
Yeah.
is he really going to help us?"
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And just watching my mom and her answers and her prayers, and I don't know. I found myself at 13 years old just calling out to the Lord, like, I just want you in my life.
Brilliant.
And I just want you to be Lord of my life. But I still didn't know how to walk with him.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I was kind of going through the process, going through the steps. I look back at how my mom grew through it, and children just kind of follow.
Yeah.
And
Well, you both were trying to like grow through it together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, turned 18. I fell into a relationship I should have never been in for about 3 years, and on a path that I should have never been in.
Yeah.
And it's, I even look back at that time period, and God never leaves you.
No, he doesn't.
He put stumbling block after stumbling block in my way to stop me from.
Yeah.
And I just, of course, my personality, I blew right through every single one of them because I knew everything back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're much dumber now.
That's so true.
That's actually really funny.
Thank you.
So, 21 is when we met, and I was out of that relationship.
When would you say you got saved?
13.
13. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely 13.
I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 13 you got saved, and so now 21.
Yep.
You get out of a bad relationship you shouldn't
Yep.
have been in.
Yep.
And tell me how you met Harry.
Yeah, how did you meet?
Oh.
Do you want to tell the story?
Well, we have a lot of versions. Yeah. When the
Tell
kids
us
were
the best version.
Well, when the kids were younger, we used to tell them that we met at a church social.
Okay.
Okay.
And obviously, as they got older, we had to get out of the G version and get into the PG-13 version, which is we met at a gay bar on straight night
On my 21st birthday.
on our 21st
Wait.
birthday.
And yes, I was drunk.
Wait,
Didn't seem like it at the time.
rewind. Wait, what? A gay bar on a straight night
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
for your
gay-
21st birthday.
It was gay Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and straight Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And we
Yep.
were there on a Saturday night.
How would you even keep that straight?
Yeah, how do you, yeah. What if you went
I
on the wrong
didn't
night?
once, and I found out really quick why it's every other night.
So you were 21 on your 21st birthday at a bar,
Yep.
and you see Harry, or did Harry see you?
No.
Oh, God.
Oh, okay.
Okay, first of all, when I went off to college, I decided at a young age I was going to be a physical therapist.
Yeah.
I wasn't a bar fly. I
Sure,
wasn't,
sure, yeah.
Wasn't into clubbing.
Yeah.
I was very serious. I had to provide for myself through
Yeah.
college. I had to work like crazy. And on my 21st birthday, my girlfriends were like, "You have to go out." And I'm like, "No, I don't really need to. I'm good. Why don't we just do something at the house?" They're like, "You're going out. You're going out." So we went out, and Harry actually really liked the girl that I was with, who had long red hair.
Ooh, okay.
Well,
Oh no.
they were mutual friends. Your
We were
friend,
friends.
your friend, and my friend knew each other, so they started talking. Then we started talking, and I said, and
You
then
were
I
asking me questions about my girlfriend.
Well, I did, and then we started talking, and I introduced myself, and I said,
Oh, yeah.
my name's Harry Roesner, and your reply was,
Yeah, and I'm Barbara Walters.
she, for some reason, didn't believe me. So
No
I had to
way.
get my driver's license out. and I said,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
she
really what I
was
said.
drunk.
And,
Wait, what town is this in? Is this the
This
only
is-
bar in the town?
no.
No.
Oh,
We are
okay.
now in Flint. I'm at the
Oh,
University
okay.
of Michigan. in
Okay.
Flint, in PT school.
Gotcha.
And I was a barfly, so.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, Thursdays and Saturdays, I was almost every week, so.
Okay.
But, yeah, after that, we started talking quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then did
After
our...
you got over not wanting to be with my girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Not that I'm bitter about it.
no? Well, if...
It gets better.
Once you decide to, color your hair red, That worked out great.
Wow.
She didn't.
No, I'm sure she didn't. Yeah, I'm just going to sip my coffee while you recover. That is brilliantly funny.
Okay.
So
anyways.
you're 21, you're...
I'm 23.
23.
Yeah. About
Okay.
23.
So you're over her friend.
Yeah.
And you're
I mean,
like-
this is the same night. So, I mean, we ended up, it was, I'd say we met about probably 10 or 11.
No, it was
wasn't
earlier
late.
than that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, I
Okay,
hope it was
9.
10 or 11, Kelly, for you.
I mean, that's like, it's after
It was
Jeopardy,
noon.
so
They met at noon.
I really don't remember what time.
yeah,
I-
I think you were already bar hopping by then, weren't you?
No, I just went
That's
to the
the
one
first
bar.
one?
It didn't take much. I mean, I think I had 2 drinks and I was pretty much
Yeah.
done.
But
And then people kept buying me others, and I was like, I don't know what.
I helped a little bit, maybe. But we ended up just talking pretty much most of the night and did our first dance, our first song, "Lean on Me" by Club Nouveau.
You want me to
Okay.
sing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
way
You don't want me
back.
to
You
sing.
probably DJ'd it.
No.
No, way before your time. Yeah, whatever.
So what year was this?
This was 87,
87.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
way back.
That's, yeah.
And Harry Reesner was a newscaster in the 70s.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was wondering.
Okay,
where
I was
that
wondering
came
why
from.
you didn't believe
Yeah.
it. That makes
That
sense
makes so much
why.
sense now.
That's why I said, yeah, I'm Barbara Wald.
That
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
I-
I was all confused
For
for
all
a
the
minute. I was
older
like,
people, they'll get
We
that.
got-
They'll understand
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of people laughing right now, except for
Perfect.
anyone under.
I was like, why would she say she's
I know. I was
Baltimore
like,
Wallers?
oh, maybe she was going to grill him or something.
Yeah,
right? Like, so,
that was
okay.
great.
Okay, got it.
So you guys meet at this bar, and now you start seeing each other right away, or you start talking?
Actually,
like,
no.
It gets even better.
oh, fantastic!
so-
I'm very excited for this.
Do we want the PG? So
We went out to eat afterwards at a 24-hour Coney Island, and I've
Yeah.
never seen somebody eat as much food.
I was minor. I had
I
an
mean-
omelet, a chili dog, side of
Pancakes.
fries. Oh yeah, side
And
of
I ordered
pancakes.
pancakes.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
That's a
what he
lot
ate.
of food, man.
I weighed 165 pounds,
Wow.
and I
Wow.
could swallow all that. Yeah,
That's impressive.
and I could never gain weight. And then I met her. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't her. It's the kids. This is all kids.
Blame the kids, yeah.
So you go out,
Blame
he
the
eats a
kids.
ton of food, and you realize instantly, I can't
This-
afford this.
No.
We actually talked and talked and talked and talked
Yeah.
and talked and talked. And,
It was like 3 a.m.
yeah.
Then we went over to my house.
No, we did not have
Yes.
sex on the first night. No, we
We went
didn't.
over to my house and we enjoyed each other's company, but we did not do that.
That's good.
Good job.
Good
So-
job.
But I did, when I went to leave at 5 in the morning and drove back home, I left my purse at his house.
Smooth move. I like that.
I didn't do it on
That's-
purpose.
Okay.
'Cause I was so embarrassed that I left the bar with a guy and went to his house. I really didn't want to see him again. Because
Yeah.
I was
Right.
I was embarrassed because
Sure.
I just never did that. I was Miss Goody Two Shoes.
Right.
And so
I'm trying to find out when she's going to be this Miss Goody Two Shoes. Like, she even told me that I don't usually do this. It's like, you keep telling me that.
like you're the first person that I've ever dated from a bar. I've ever gone home from a bar with. Really, you're the only person.
I know.
And
It's
he's
like,
looking at me
I
like,
know. I usually don't do this. Like, well, okay. That's what you think.
So I got my purse. We actually hung out the next day together.
Yeah. Went to another Coney Island.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I asked her for a number,
Wow.
but I did not write it down because I have a great memory, which I don't.
Why did you, what, you ask for a number and don't write it down?
Well, I thought we'll finish talking
Find it
and
in
I'll go
the
write
phone
it
book
down.
back then. You just
Yeah.
looked in the
Right.
phone book.
And then I was going to look it up and I couldn't find her. I couldn't find her at all. So I forgot to write the number down, and then I spent probably 3 days looking through the phone book.
No way.
She told me she lived in Swartz Creek, which is a suburb of Flint,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I can't find it, and I literally gave up. And so
And he met 2 other girls named Kelly.
Wait, I didn't even get to go there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Met a girl a couple weeks later named Kelly, and then
Went out with her.
went to.
Did she have red hair?
No.
She did not. No. So
This is amazing.
went down to went down to Florida for a vacation and found out my girlfriend was with somebody else in Florida. So I did not have a good time until I met another girl named Kelly.
Hold on, wait. You kind of lost me for a second there. When did you get this said girlfriend?
Oh, about 2 weeks after I met her.
So you meet her, then you get a girlfriend.
Yeah. Started,
Named
Dating
Kelly.
another Kelly.
yeah,
Have
her
you
name
co-
was
well,
Kelly.
did you find this Kelly while you were looking for your Kelly?
I know. I just figured she was long gone because
You couldn't find
couldn't
her.
find her.
Yeah, way to keep looking.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I mean, I drove all the whole county looking
So you
for
go to
no, I
Florida, your girlfriend's
Yeah.
with a different Harry.
didn't. Yep.
You know,
another guy. And
Yeah.
so down there, I meet this other girl named Kelly, and we hit it off pretty well. Nothing.
Yeah.
Just had
Well, way to
conversations,
let
but-
yourself heal.
I did. Just repeated with Kelly's. Yeah, that's a good way to heal. So we did. On my way home, I all this time I've been this bar hopping
Sure.
kind of guy, and
Yeah.
I'm like, on the way home after all this stuff, I think God's talking me finally. He's getting my attention, and on that way home, I'm starting to contemplate, what am I doing?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm not really enjoying my life. I want to get settled. I want to start moving in a positive direction.
Oh, brilliant.
But I didn't know what it was.
Sure.
Right.
I this is before I became saved. So
Yeah.
I got home, and in the pile of mail I had was this card from Kelly, and I went to my friend who went down with me, and I said, "What Kelly is that? I'm not sure who it is."
No way.
Yes, way.
This is epic.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I opened up the card, and she had put her her return address on it. So I found her number because I found it in the phone book.
So who did you send the card to? You or her friend?
Kelly sent the card
I
to
sent the
Harry.
card. So I hadn't heard. It had probably been 2 months.
2
2
months.
months. And I hadn't.
Well, her birthday's February, and this was end of March.
Yeah.
So you sent him a card.
I
Yeah.
sent him a card, and the card just said, "Hope you enjoyed your vacation.
That's how
I'm
much we
surprised I
talked,
haven't
and I-
heard from you." And it was actually my girlfriend who said, because I after we met, I just buckled back down. I'm doing school.
Yeah.
I'm doing work. I'm too busy, and I had my girlfriend.
And
who
I was busy with Kelly's. So.
Yeah. I had my girlfriend say, just send him a card. Just send him a card. And so I thought, okay. So I just sent him a
How
card.
did you find out where he lived?
Well, she had
Well,
been
I'd already
there.
been there.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
she
right, I
was
forgot.
there, remember?
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
So you send him the card. With the card just said, "How'd you know he was on vacation?"
Well,
We
'cause
talked.
we talked that
Yeah.
night that he was going to be going on vacation.
Gotcha.
So
With
I
his
just-
girlfriend?
No.
I didn't have a girlfriend back then.
Remember, he waited a whole
He
2
waited
weeks.
a whole week and found another Kelly, and then got to
Oh,
Florida
okay.
and found another Kelly.
This is
Okay.
I mean, this is
It
All
can
right.
get confusing.
No, I feel like I'm following you.
Okay. So
Tracking.
she sends you the card. Now, what do you do?
I called her.
Did you tell her you've lost her number?
I did, and she said you're an idiot. So we
No,
left
I
it.
didn't.
No, she didn't.
He didn't, nor did he tell me about the other Kellys. That was
No.
much
That was
later
good.
in the game.
Yeah,
That
after
was
we got
a good
married,
strategy.
probably.
Yeah, that was
I
good
know.
strategy. though.
I ain't gonna lie to you. That might be the smartest thing you've ever done. That was brilliant.
It was.
So now we're 2 months later. You guys start dating.
Yeah.
How long did you date?
Till when?
Till you
Till
got
we got
married.
married.
Oh, till we get married.
There was no more other Kellys in the
No,
mix. I'm
no.
sure. Okay.
Yep. Well, we
We
got
got
married. I got engaged New Year's Eve. That
6 months later.
Yeah, and then 6 months later, June, we got married.
So 1 year
So
after you
I-
officially started dating, you were married.
Yeah, pretty much. A year
Pretty
and
much.
a month or so.
Yeah.
So you're newly saved. You're still in college.
I'm still in college.
You're still in college. So you
Yep.
guys are still in Flint.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So then, did you have a church family then? Were you going to church? Like, what was that
No.
like for you guys?
No.
Not
Not until we got to Ann Arbor. I had finished. She graduated. She finished. She got a job in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
And I started going to school at Eastern, and that's when we went to our first church.
yeah.
But we had I'd say the biggest thing for us with God was what we endured after we got married.
Sure.
Those first, we had a lot of stuff go really south on
Sure.
us.
Right away. Like we dealt with big stuff for
Okay.
a newly married couple. His mom died immediately. I mean, the first year of marriage, he lost his mom. I got pregnant with Alexis, our oldest daughter, and
That was the first one, though.
Oh.
The ectopic pregnancy.
oh yeah,
We,
Forgot about that.
yeah,
So we had an ectopic pregnancy first,
yep.
where I got pregnant on birth control,
Yeah.
on the pill, and it attached itself
See,
to my
it
ovary.
does happen.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, it does. Attached itself to my ovary. Sunday night, I'm in emergency surgery in severe pain, nearly septic. It was definitely
Touch
very
and go.
scary.
Yep.
And then after that, his mom was
Diagnosed with
diagnosed
cancer.
with cancer, given 6 months to live.
Oh my goodness.
And then I would say the
That's when you were
changing
pregnant.
point was I got pregnant with our oldest daughter,
Yeah.
and her name's Alexis. And the day of his mom's funeral, I went into preterm labor
Oh my goodness.
at only
20 weeks.
21 weeks.
Wow.
And I get back into triage, and they're wanting to give me all sorts of medicine, and I'm requesting a PDR so I can read the side effects of these medicines
Oh my
before I take it.
That's the most Kelly Roesner thing you've ever heard.
It's absolutely.
And the nurse is arguing with me, like, we need to do blah, blah. And I'm like, well, then you better bring me the book fast.
Yeah.
Because my regular doctor's not there. I'm dealing with somebody else that I don't
Right.
know. And it was at that point that we made it through. They started the medicine, and they just basically told me if we don't stop the labor, you're not going to have a baby. You'll
Oh, my
lose
goodness.
your baby. And at that point, I just started praying and reaching out to the Lord.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I only would reach out to the Lord when I needed him. And then
Yeah.
I'd kind of put him back on a shelf and
Yeah.
then pull him back down. I need you now, and kind of
Yeah.
back and forth. But that was a turning point in our life between losing Harry's mom and God gave me a beautiful vision of these big, huge, weathered hands with this little tiny baby. And I just felt the Holy Spirit say, I've got the baby in the palm of my hand, and I'm
brilliant.
not letting him go. And then in the back was a window, and I walked all around the triage, and I was in the only room that had a window. So it just spoke volumes to
Yeah,
me, like,
absolutely,
okay,
yeah.
God really is here in
Yeah.
the midst, and everything is going to be okay.
And how old were you then?
23.
23.
Yeah.
That's young.
Yeah, she was on complete bed rest for the next remainder of the pregnancy. And
Yeah.
I mean, don't move, kind of.
Right, yeah.
On
Bed
your side,
rest.
unless you have a
Yeah.
doctor appointment.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So I was back cooking.
And then
How did
after,
you guys navigate that then? Because you're just newly saved,
Yeah,
right? So you're trying to figure out your relationship.
yeah.
Like, how did you guys navigate that together?
We just, I always looked at our conversations as God was in the middle of it.
Sure.
So when we're discussing something, it was God was talking with us.
Yeah.
And so it was really when we're going through it, we just allowed God to work through it, and just to know what He did. I mean, I remember when she was in surgery for the ectopic pregnancy, I was a wreck.
Oh, I'm sure,
And
yeah.
I'm like, God, whatever you want me to do, or whatever it takes, just keep her
Yeah.
for me. And yeah, I was. That was probably the scariest and loneliest time
Yeah.
for me.
I'm sure.
I'm brand new husband and looking forward to this life and
Yeah.
family, and then all of a sudden it could all end like boom.
Right. Yeah.
And it was that was scary, really scary.
but we learned that we had no control over life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You really have no control. So we better put it in the hands of somebody that does.
Yeah.
And that's when we really went deeper with God. We give
Brilliant.
you every part of our life. We
Yeah.
give you our marriage. We give you our health. And I think, well, let me kind of fast forward. So after having Alexis, she's 1 week old, and she went in the hospital because she was jaundice. And then in there, she picked up strep B
Oh, wow.
and ended up very sick.
Yeah.
And wondering if she septic and is she
Yeah.
going to survive. And another time of, Lord, I'm just trusting you. You gave me this baby, and
Yeah.
you're going to take care of her. I was so clinging. Everything I thought was just these hands, and I'm like,
Yeah.
our lives are in your hands, and you're just going to
Yep.
take care of us. And then literally the day we brought her home from the hospital,
Not we.
I brought her home from the hospital. Harry was in a different hospital, and he ended up with a real rare autoimmune disease called Reiter syndrome.
Wow.
And, well, you want to tell it?
I went to work and I just didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And then the guy looked at me, he says, "There's pus coming out of your eyes." Like,
No
what?
way.
I knew they were
Sick.
watery, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And I went in the mirror, and it's like, oh my gosh, and they're all bloodshot. And then my whole body's feeling achy. And I just told the guys that, I must have got the flu or something. I went to see a doctor. He says, it looks like you got like, I don't know, 4 or 5 infections going on at once.
No
I mean,
way.
I had pus coming out of every orifice. It was
Oh.
weird. I'd never seen anything like it, so.
I-
Well, it's true, that's what it was.
Whoa.
But,
He was
so
sick.
after the doctor, I went and laid down, and I woke up and I could not move my hip. If I moved it, it felt like somebody put sandpaper in between the joint, and it's just grinding every time I moved. I mean, to the point I limped down the stairs from her aunt's house, and I tried to go. Okay, I'll just
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah, loosen
rub,
it up.
like you do. I'll just rub it out and
Yeah.
move it. And after a while, it was just so painful. I ended up calling your aunt, and she took me to the hospital. And these guys want to poke and prod me, and they had me up on morphine. And I'm like, I so bad. I imagined my brother, who was living in Hawaii, had come to visit me.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I was, and at that point, Kelly came, because that was the next day.
Yeah.
And then she's like, we just got out of the hospital, what's going on? I ended up having that go through every joint in my body.
Are you kidding?
Thing. Yeah, and what it would do is it would swell up.
Yeah.
So my foot, it'd swell up in the knee. It kind of went down this leg, and then it swelled up my foot. So it looked like a
You
football.
can even see his toes.
No
Seriously,
way.
that's how much swelling. His elbow was like, had this much fluid hanging from
No
it. They had
way.
to go in and drain it.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
you want to talk about miserable. He couldn't even hold the baby. He
Oh.
couldn't walk. He was in a wheelchair.
Alexis was a preemie. She didn't even weigh
Sure.
6 pounds, and I
Yeah,
couldn't
we
even
had
hold
her
her.
4'9".
Oh my
That
goodness.
was crazy.
How long were you sick for?
I was really bad for about 6 months,
Oh my goodness.
and then
But 2 years of symptoms on and off.
and then another 5 years where I couldn't sleep laying down, and I'd have this pain in my ribs, and it was like pressure, and it wake me up in the middle of the night, and I'd go sit up in a chair, and so I'd end up for another 5 years doing that. So it probably lasted
That's terrible.
almost 8 years.
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
2 years he was on
But
disability.
Really?
I had to stop working,
Yeah.
went on disability,
Yeah.
and finished
So you have
my
a
degree.
so you have a new baby.
Newlywed.
Who's newlywed. You've lost your
My
mom.
mom just passed away.
You-
Same year.
Lose a
You
baby.
lose a baby. Your current baby was a preemie and is a little unwell.
Mm-hmm.
She got sick, and then you come home and then now within a very short time, I'd imagine you find out he's going to be on disability for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Quite a challenge.
Yeah, so we literally tag teamed being the supporter of the other person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I was so sick, I couldn't work, and I ended up finishing school, so I ended up raising our daughters for the first 3 years of their lives. So I was like Mr. Mom, and she was working she was working all the time, and I was doing school and doing childcare.
Wow.
And so we kind of had reversal roles.
Yeah.
But it was good
But
for us.
it was
we
very
learned,
good.
We learned at a very young age what's really important in life.
Absolutely.
And our health, taking care of each other,
Yep.
our family. I mean, those are our,
100%.
we had no choice.
Yeah.
And it really strengthened our marriage
Yeah.
to
Oh, I'm
have him
sure.
take care of me through the whole
Pregnancies.
pregnancy, and then to turn around and have to take care of him like that.
brilliant.
Because every one of her pregnancy was the same way. She was sick for the first 20 weeks, and then she was on bed rest the rest of the time.
Are you
All
kidding?
3 of them.
All
yeah.
3 pregnancies.
Yep.
Wow.
So I ended up taking care of the kid. Yeah. taking
So how
care of
long
you and
after
the kid.
Lex was born before you got pregnant again?
Fast.
So it's
They're
I,
only
I,
16
Oh,
months
oh, by the
I know,
way-
I know that, but I wanted you to share it with everyone. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to
I
point
felt
something
like a
out.
broodmare.
Yeah.
Seriously, I was pregnant, bang, bang, bang. The first 3 were 16 and 18 months apart.
Wow. And so in the midst of him being very sick,
Yeah.
having a newborn, he's on disability, you guys are like, you know, it'd be really smart right now.
Yeah, have
Another
more
baby.
kids. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just pile 'em up.
Obviously, clearly planned.
Okay, so just to let you know, every single one of our children were born on a contraceptive.
Every single one.
Conceived in a
See?
contraceptive.
Well,
Yes.
listen, I believe
Okay.
Didn't
you.
believe.
I didn't
Now
believe it at the
listen,
time. I didn't believe it at
folks,
the time.
it's true. There is that 99%, even the condoms. So
So you guys, did you have all 3 kids before he could go back to work?
No. We had the first 2,
yeah,
and then we moved. Yeah, then we moved to Petoskey
Okay.
yeah,
from Ann Arbor.
So did you have a church family while you were in Ann Arbor?
yes.
Yes.
So what was that like moving away from that? Like now you've gone through all this stuff, built some relationships, I'm certain, and now you move away and go to Petoskey.
Yes.
Which how far away was that?
From Ann Arbor to Petoskey.
That's 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a whole new. We got to find a whole new church.
We were
family.
only in Ann Arbor. Well, because we lived partway in between, it wasn't until we had Leah that we got plugged into
Gotcha,
a
okay.
church.
Sure.
Our second daughter that we got plugged into a church. So we weren't there but a
Understand.
year.
I'd say the most influential church was probably starting to be influential was one in Petoskey.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's when we really
We
learned
got
about
connected and
getting connected into the church body.
And how long were you there?
2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
2 years. And so
2 years.
and you had. So now you're there. You have 3 kids at this point.
Mhm.
While you were there.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Caitlin was born. Oh yeah.
Our third one was born in Petoskey.
Yeah.
We don't want to go into
We
that
don't
story.
want to talk about
No.
your mother.
No.
Yeah.
My mom
Okay.
came to help me with the third child and fell and broke her leg.
So I'm
know,
taking
right?
care.
This
She's
is
on bed
unreal.
rest.
I'm on bed rest and he's taking care of my
she's
mother.
she's on a commode in our living room, and I have to take care of her and 2 kids. So yeah.
Wow.
I've become a saint.
You should after me being the third Kelly. Let's
Oh,
just
yeah.
be real.
Oh yeah.
I love you. Let's
I
be
need a
honest.
payback
This,
right
this
there.
is like,
Yes.
listen, God works in mysterious
Yes,
ways,
yes,
you
he
know?
works all things.
Yeah.
All
Bible
things.
says he will forgive things on earth and in heaven, which means sometimes it's just heaven he forgives.
Yeah. We're learning.
So you're in Petoskey, you're there a couple years, you find a church family, and now at some point you decide to move to here, right?
No.
No, still not
No.
here.
Not here yet.
We were actually deciding between Georgia and I got 2 offers for jobs. One was in Georgia, and one was in the Detroit area. Actually, the first Home Depot that was
Yeah.
in Michigan.
Okay.
So I ended up taking that job, and we stayed in Royal Oak for 2 years. And
No more babies.
Yeah.
No more babies. Yep.
yeah,
We figured out how that worked.
yeah. Oh, but my goodbye present was.
Oh, gosh. I
We
forgot
had
about
I had a vasectomy, and then her mother was able to go home that day, same day. And Kelly's like, "You sure you don't want me to stay?" I'm like, "Heck no, you can go. I'll stay here with Ice. I'll be fine." And
So we did that in Petoskey. Then
Yeah.
we moved to Royal Oak.
and then we moved to Royal Oak.
And so you were there 2 years.
Yep, we were there for 2 years. Got hooked into a church called Grace
Yeah?
out in Livonia, and learned a lot from that church. It was a little bit of a distance, but we got into church small groups.
Yeah.
And got connected with a few people. And I think that was kind of our start of understanding how a church body works.
And so you're how old now?
We're
Had Caitlin
close to
at her
30.
third at 28.
28.
So
So-
yeah, about 30.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going
So you're
into
30 years
our
old. Now you've gone through some stuff, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
you've lived. That's quite a first 10 years. You know, that's a.
And in that time, we moved 8 times in those.
Wow.
Or 10 times in 8 years.
That's a lot.
Yeah, our last time was when we finally moved to Grand Rapids. Well, actually Rockford, and we moved into that house and stayed there for 20 years.
That's what.
We haven't even got to that point.
No,
yet.
we're not even there yet. We're still in Detroit, you know, at Home Depot. So you're at Home Depot, and you guys are, you know, like life's going good. Is this? I'd love to talk about this because I know you guys made a decision at some point that you wanted to adopt children, and it's a big part of who you guys are. It's a big part of your heart, you know, for the world. But at what point did that conversation start happening for you guys? Was it in Detroit, or was much later?
Well, it's kind of a ongoing conversation I had with God.
Sure. Okay.
And it started when I was 13.
Are you really 13 years old?
13. So this is when I was 13. I had a vision for my life,
Okay.
and I could see, and I could literally close my eyes, see this beautiful woman and 3 children in this really nice house, and I could see that as plain as day. But I could only see till I was 36, which was the year 2000.
Wow.
And I could not see my life any further beyond that. I could just see that.
Sure.
And so all this stuff happened. We moved from Royal Oak, and then we moved to Grand Rapids, and we built our dream house, really. And and that was in '98. So 2000 comes, and I'm literally having that vision going, okay, so something's going to happen, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And God literally, he didn't physically tell me this, but he kept saying, are you satisfied? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really satisfied. I got exactly what I wanted when I was 13 years old. I mean, who wouldn't be happy about that?
Yeah.
And, I mean, we had a great relationship. And the girls were awesome. And I was in this house that we were putting together and just really enjoying life. Yeah. And God kept saying the same thing. Are you satisfied? And then, and I kind of got irritated, like, yes, you know I'm satisfied. And then he finally said, well, it wasn't satisfied, really. It was, are you fulfilled?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized I wasn't.
Sure.
I was completely satisfied with my life, but I was not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And he said, and at that point he said, you've seen the vision I've given you. You can continue on this path, and you can have this life for the rest of your life. But the reason I haven't shown you anything beyond that is because I want you to have a choice.
So good.
And you can either be satisfied or fulfilled.
Wow.
And so I chose the fulfilled portion.
Yeah.
And I dragged her along with me.
So at that moment, you kind of decided we're going to adopt.
We were actually contemplating a couple of different ministries. We were thinking about going into deaf. She was doing sign language with the kids. And
But at this point, we're now settled in Rockford.
Yeah.
We found an amazing church.
Yeah.
Grace Life,
we
because
got
I looked it up in the phone book.
Good job.
Come on, narrow
Yeah.
that down after a couple Kellys.
Well, a couple Kellys, a couple of Grace churches. What the heck? Keep it going.
And really understanding the message of grace
Yeah.
that Ron and Joy Messelink poured into us
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what changed our life.
Oh,
Yeah.
certainly.
And that's when Harry had that conversation with the Lord.
Yeah.
And we knew we were going in another direction. We
Yeah.
didn't quite know what it was. We started doing youth leadership.
Yep.
We had a real love for kids.
Sure.
I loved sign language. I was teaching the girls sign language. So I don't remember if we were what started the whole, how can I forget this? So he came home, you came home from work and you said, I feel like the Lord's leading us into foster care.
Okay.
And he said, what do you think of it? And I said, I think it's crazy. We just had date night. We just left the girls by themselves. We
Right.
finally don't need a babysitter because
Yeah.
Lexus our oldest was
12, 11.
11 or 12,
Yeah.
and we were like, heaven.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I remember those days.
I do.
Yeah.
I remember that first time.
Yeah.
I was a nervous wreck the first time.
So was I.
Oh, yeah. We
It was
went a
like
mile
meeting
away
her.
and called
we,
3 times.
we did too. Yeah. We went to the
Kind of
store.
spied on them just
Yeah.
to make sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But still, it was like a whole new world
Yeah, I
opened
know.
up, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you forget what you do when you have kids or
Oh,
what
yeah.
you don't do or what you
Yeah.
lose.
100%.
Yeah. We did think about leaving our youngest daughter, Nicole, in charge when we left, though.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Less broken bones.
Yeah.
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 So he came home and he said that, and he looked at me and he said, well, will you at least pray about it?
Sure.
And I said, we're not ones to, we've always had an open door policy.
Yeah.
So we've always pulled people into our family.
Yep.
We've
Yeah.
always included people.
Yeah.
God just put a huge love for his people in our
Yeah,
hearts and in
right.
our home. And we really believe that our home was dedicated to him to use how he
So good.
wanted to use it. So we've had people staying with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just his home.
Yeah.
So I just said to him, we don't,
Don't go halfway.
we don't go halfway. So
Yeah.
we're going to end up adopting and keeping how many kids? And he's like, well, is that such a bad thing? And I'm like, oh, because I wasn't one that was going to, I wanted a boatload of kids. I
Yeah.
was, two's good.
2, 3. Solid.
Yeah, when we were negotiating kids before marriage, that was one.
He's like,
So,
how about
How
4?
about 2? And
I'm
I'm
like,
like,
how
well,
about
we
2?
could do. I could 3 or 4, and she's like, no, 2. Just 2.
Sounds like a very good negotiation.
Yeah.
My way.
Yeah.
My way.
How about
My way.
4, 2?
Well,
Yeah.
clearly was God.
3?
Because
2.
I said to my doctor, well, never mind. Never mind.
What?
So anyhow, so that night we went to bed, and
Yeah.
Harry started praying, and I'm
She
really
called
not-
it the mamby-pamby prayer. It's like, would you just shut up so I can actually ask this question?
Yeah, it's kind of what I did. I was
Yeah.
barely
Yeah.
listening to his prayer.
Because she was very.
I was just waiting for him to finish, and I just was like, God, if this is what you want us to do, you're going to have to give me a sign, like hit me over the head with a frying pan.
Yep.
Like, I need to see it in black and white, or
Yeah.
I don't even want to embark on this path.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, not a chance. And literally, the next day, he walked home. He's got a big old grin on his face, and he's laughing.
I went to work that morning. I do this every day. Go in the cafeteria. I get a drink, and I go weigh myself. Or no, it's one of those cuffs for blood pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Go
I
weigh
won't. I go. Yeah, not weigh myself. I didn't
How do you,
need to.
wait a minute,
I didn't
how do you
know
mix
you
those two up? You know what I do? I go in every morning, I go for a jog. Well, not a jog, I get a dozen donuts.
No, I do this blood pressure
Sure.
stuff to see if I'm dead yet. So I wasn't, thank goodness. But I walked by the tables. There's nothing out there, and there was this newspaper there on the one of the tables, and I'm like, well, that's weird. You never see it. So I pick it up and I start laughing, and then I bring it home.
Brings it home. He
And I
puts it on the
laugh again.
island. He's cracking up. He's like, is this black and white for you? And I open it up, and it says, foster care in desperate need in Western Michigan.
So, like you guys
I was like,
mentioned,
wow.
you don't do anything halfway. So,
No.
how many kids did you end up adopting?
We adopted 6 total, and then God threw 3 other kind of bonus kids that we consider
So-
ours, but we
so-
didn't legally adopt.
No, yeah, I totally get that. So, that
Yep.
gives you 9 plus the 3 that you delivered, which gives you a Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
It gives you, so you have,
We have 9.
we have 12 total?
9
kids.
legal, 12 total.
12
Yeah.
total.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So
That
we-
is amazing.
when we started,
That's more like crazy than amazing.
when we started, I mean, we literally did, 5 in a year's period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
then a straggler.
Yeah,
so we
2003
tripled the
to
amount of
end
kids
2004.
in a 3-year period.
Yeah.
Because Bella came, our last one came a year after that.
Wow.
So clearly Harry won the negotiations.
Yeah, that's
I don't
amazing.
think so. God won.
Yeah.
Big time.
That is really, truly amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot, you know. And how old were the 3 oldest girls then? How old were they when you guys started this journey? You said
Well, they were.
the oldest was
yeah,
11.
Alexis
Yeah.
was
Like
12.
9, 10, 11.
Well, I think
9,
11 or 12.
9, 10, 12.
And then Caitlin was 3 years younger, so
Sure.
she's 8 or 9. And the big thing for that was we all had to be on board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if we're going to do foster care or adopt, you had that story with the girls. Oh no, that was what was? We had a story with the girls about doing the
The Closet Boys?
yeah no
Is that what you're
the
thinking?
part if they were going to what would they do? The scenario if they wanted to go out to a party.
Oh, that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot. So we sat, that wasn't until Dakota came, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was the
yeah.
third baby.
Yeah, the third baby, because they're all 3 kids are under 5 or within a year. What? They're less. They're a year and
Yeah.
a half between 3 of the
Sure.
boys.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so on these last ones, the girls had Kelly had a conversation with them and said, "Okay, this is the scenario. If we're going to adopt these guys, who's going to stay home with mom to watch the kids?" And
Well, that's not quite how we said it. I said, because we were bringing in a third infant.
Yeah.
So I could take 2 babies and go to a doctor's appointment by myself, but you're giving me a third child, and I can't do that alone. So I looked at the girls and I said, there's a party and you can't wait to go to this party. And I look at you and say, somebody's got to help me take the boys to the doctor. So who's going to miss the party and stay with me? And they look and they're thinking, because we agreed, we should have started with that. We agreed that all 5 of us had to be on board. So even
Yep.
before we
Yep.
started, when we first laid it before the kids, one of
Yeah.
them wasn't quite ready. And so
Sure.
we put it to rest and we waited another year. And then we said,
Yes.
what about now? How are you feeling? What do you think? And we're praying about it and talking about it. And that's when all 3 of them got on board.
It's amazing.
So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
we had the first 3, and 2 of them, one was an infant at 5 weeks old, and then one was almost 4, and then another 5-week-old baby, but the 2 babies are only 6 months apart.
Wow. Okay.
So then we get another baby that's now 5 months, who is 6 months younger.
Wow. Okay.
So they're
all within almost a year.
it's pretty much triplets. They're all
Yep.
3 and
Right.
14
diapers.
months between
Wow.
Eli and Dakota, which
Yeah.
are the oldest one and youngest in that span.
So when I said to the girls, who's going to help me take the 3
Yeah.
boys to a doctor appointment, they're thinking, and one of them pipes up and says, well, how old's the person having the party? And I'm like, because I'm just thinking they're going to be like,
Right.
and
No
when
way.
when the third baby came in, it wasn't even, keeping him really wasn't an option. I already called a girlfriend that I knew was doing foster care and told her, I have your baby.
Right.
Without even really
Yeah.
praying about it.
Yeah.
Because God spoke specifically a word to us with each child.
Sure.
You'll have to tell the story about Elijah when he said that at the stove.
Yeah.
But anyhow, when they're looking at me and they're, who's having the party? And I'm like, why does it matter? And they said, well, if it's an older person, then
Older friend, yeah.
an older girl, then the youngest will stay home. And if it's a younger girl, then the oldest will stay home. And then our middle daughter looks at us and says, as long as I'm going to the party, I'm cool. And you know who that is, right?
That's amazing. I'm so grateful I know that story. That is the greatest story of all time. So I do want to honor your time. So I really kind of want to move into this. Like, I know how much of your heart and passion is in care and in caring for kids and the foster system and adopting and and I just think it's a wonderful thing. We probably should have just talked about that for an hour and a half, but there's this aspect of this other part of you guys I think is so often I don't want to say missed, that's not the right word, but because your gifting and desire to and the foster and adoption area is so strong, that's kind of, I think, how most people know you.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of, I don't want to say your calling card, but you understand what I mean. Like, that's, if people spend any time with you, they're going to know you're everybody's mom and you're everybody's dad, and that's who you are. But there's also this part of you that, like, your story is it's just fun and funny and speaks to who you guys are and your joy, right? And how you navigate things. But then there's this other part, there's a deep well of wisdom that I think people that become part of your, family that you kind of bring in. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, and I found out like the day before they're at your house, having dinner, or they're at family dinner. I'm like, how many people does this church go there to eat? How do you guys afford this? But there's this aspect of you that I think sometimes, like your insight into things, your insight into parenting, because parenting is different with each kid.
Oh, yeah.
And when you make a decision to foster or adopt, that's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
That's a whole new thing. No matter, one of the things that I've noticed, and we've never adopted, but we do have people close to us that have. And one of the things we've always seen is that it doesn't matter if you get them 2 weeks old or 3 months old or 4 years old. There's stuff, and it's different. It's a different grace and a different gift mix. And one of the things I appreciate about one of your daughters, I remember she was on the podcast, and so before she was on the podcast, I kind of tried to get like some background. And I had said, like, well, how many, what did I say, adopted siblings do you have? I said something to that effect. And she got really annoyed. She was like, none. And I was like, wait, have Harry Kelly been lying to me all these years? Like, what's going on? She's like, they're all just my brothers and sisters.
Well, she was out at a party, so.
Yeah. But she was very clear that there was no difference.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's, watching you guys and watching your heart towards it, it's so clear there's no difference, right?
Yeah.
They're just your kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You hold them to the same standards, the same love and compassion comes from you, the same grace comes from you, but you're unwavering in that. And I think there's so much wisdom that comes with that I do wish we had spent another hour and a half talking about that part of it. But I really wanted to get to this last part. Here you guys now, you've been married for how many years?
At this point, 20?
No, right now.
Oh,
Right
us
now?
now? Oh,
Yes,
30.
Today.
30-ish.
30-ish years?
30-ish. Is that what happens after that 30-ish?
33 years.
Well, 88, so 30, it'll be 33.
Your oldest child is how old?
31.
31. And your youngest is how
Oldest
old?
birth.
15.
15. So you have a lot of experience.
Gray hair.
A lot of
Crown.
You
The
look
crown of
amazing
glory.
with it, though.
Yeah, you rock the gray hair well.
You look
She
very.
does.
Yeah.
You look,
Thank you.
I had to
yeah,
convince her to do this.
Oh, can I tell you, Kelly, you kill the gray hair.
You do.
Thank you.
Harry, they
I
make this
appreciate
product
that.
called
Just for men.
Yeah, you should talk.
That's true. I just cut it so you can't see this much.
Every time
Can
I
you
cut
still
it,
see
gets
it?
worse.
I
don't
know,
about
I know.
you, but,
But I really wanted to get to this part. If you could just speak to what it takes in a Christian family to live a life completely devoted to the things God has called you to, and to raise a family well, just from your perspective, right? Just what would be the thing you would say to that?
God's
There's
grace.
so much.
It's really God's
Yeah.
grace. I mean, there's so many times raising our three daughters before we did any adoption. I thought I was like a great father. I mean, look how great my daughters are.
amazing.
They are amazing.
They're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, we're going to adopt, no big deal. I'm a great dad. She's a great mom. This will be a breeze. Add a few kids. And then we added the kids, and all of a sudden it's just chaos.
Yeah.
Controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Because we could enclose the room. But it was like everything in me that I thought was really made me a great father just got flipped upside down.
Sure.
And God all of a sudden was pulling stuff out of me that I had no idea was in me.
Right.
And the kids were triggering me that I never got triggered before.
Sure.
And I think that's God's grace on my life to walk through that and allow me to experience these children and their character and who they are, and how they respond to me as opposed to my older daughters when they originally, every kid's different, but when I did that, it was like totally, it really flipped me over.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I think God just poured a ton of grace on us and just walked us through that.
Brilliant.
The scripture that comes to my mind is, His grace is sufficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can remember with one of the kids, temper tantrums, not like your typical temper
Sure,
tantrums, but
yeah.
your temper tantrums on crack.
Yeah. yeah.
And go on for hours and
Yeah.
hours and hours. And I
Yeah.
can remember holding this one child, which seemed forever, and there was just a grace that was on it, and I'm just speaking in tongues and rocking, and I felt like I was in the room forever, which I pretty much was.
Yeah. yeah.
And God just gives you the grace when He calls you to do something. He gives you the grace to do it. He gives you the
Brilliant.
power and the ability to do it. And He puts the love inside you to do it. And if it wasn't for the Word and His presence and Holy Spirit parenting,
Yeah.
that's what we always called it.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit parenting. Like, what do we do in this situation?
Yeah.
And
Speak in tongues a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
so that's
That's brilliant.
it's just staying close to Him.
Yeah.
Worship music in the house, which the kids would hate, but that was just for my sanity. Why can't we listen to anything else?
And a very nice bathtub.
And
Oh, there you go. Hey,
nice bathtub.
make a note. Very nice bathtub. Well, guys, listen, this has been, I've really enjoyed this.
I've learned a lot.
Yep. I listen, I had no idea that you only dated Callie's after you met your wife.
Right.
That's such a thing I'll carry on with the rest of my life.
you're welcome.
I won't bring it up ever after this.
Yeah. Next sermon.
But honestly, guys, it has just been an absolute joy to be able to do life with you guys and get to know you over the years and just watch you as parents and getting to know your kids. I think one of the things that we were actually laughing about on our way here is we're pretty close to a few of your kids,
Yeah.
and we know Lex. She actually kind of runs the podcast.
She's
and
our boss.
She's our boss. She tells us when we do a good job or when we do a bad job.
Yeah.
She's quick to tell us if we do a bad job, which I appreciate. She gets that from you, Kelly. But she's just such a blessing to watch her growth and her love for Jesus. She's such a testament to you guys,
Yeah.
and then Leah, who's
Yep.
now pregnant
Yeah.
with a grandbaby, and I'm
So
very
excited.
yeah. Sorry,
It'll
honey.
come soon enough.
Yeah, 5 years, 6 years from now. But no, you getting to know her and her husband Nate, who's just
Yeah.
he's just an amazing
Yeah.
kid.
Love Nate.
And watching them, they're just such a great testament, and I think all of your kids are really. Obviously, those are the two that I know the best,
Right.
But even watching Caitlin as she's now traveling and doing different things in nursing, and
Yeah.
just her love for life and her adventure, and you've just done such a good job. Obviously, I know Kenny well, and because he was on Rev, and just you just have some amazing young kids,
Yeah.
and you've done such a good job across the board. I think Dakota might be your funniest kid, though. I want to give him a
Oh,
shout out.
he's
Dakota,
funny.
hilarious, right? He is funny. But I just wanted to commend you guys. You've done a great job. Thanks so
good
much for
job.
coming out here and sharing your testimony and just sharing about your life. And I think those last little nuggets of wisdom were absolutely perfect. So great job.
Thanks.
And thanks so much for doing
Thanks
this.
for having
Glad we
us, you
could do
guys.
this. This is
course.
fun.
Before we go, we just want you both to know how much we appreciate you and all you poured
thanks.
into
Yeah.
us and all you poured
Yeah.
into our church and the example that you guys set.
Thank you.
Set for all of us, seriously.
Thanks.
I mean, we can't imagine raising all these kids without you, on our side, without knowing you have our corner and
Yeah,
we're here
yeah.
for
got our backs and you're here for us.
Honestly, guys, you are. We joke all the time. But it's such a joy to be able to serve with you guys and to be able to call myself your pastor at times.
Yeah.
And it's such
Oh,
a
yeah.
joy. But we've learned so much from you over the years, and just even how watching you guys. I'll never forget this. I got one last story before we go.
Okay.
I remember being at Exchange one time, and there was a lot of young people that were struggling. I thought, well, I'll grab all these kids at the end and we'll chat. They all left right after. I thought, where did they all go? All 30 of them were in your house, sitting down talking to you guys. And I remember you guys calling me and your heart for them and your grace for them, but your willingness to know truth and to understand truth. It was such a moment for me. I thought, if me and Mandy aren't here, well, the reasoners are, and it'll be okay. Like these kids will have somewhere to go where they can get a hug and be told truth. And there's such a gift you guys have, and just want to encourage you in it. Anyone that spends time with you will see it. you know, and they're impacted by it.
Yep.
You know, I mean, you guys were, I think you were youth leaders up until what? Maybe 2 years ago, last year.
Yeah,
2
just-
minutes ago.
2 minutes. I mean, it wasn't. It was a
I mean,
while. It
yeah.
wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
You guys were.
COVID.
Yeah, I
and-
think COVID
Yeah,
kinda shut us
COVID
down.
kind
Shut us-
of moved you
Yeah.
because you guys had to do some jogging around
Yeah.
a little bit. But
Yeah.
I mean, like you being there in youth was such a security blanket. You guys have such a gift, and never ever forsake it. It is truly unbelievable and amazing to watch. And I'm really excited for you guys to do the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's super happy to get you back in youth leadership if you're down. No
never
pressure.
really thought we'd move.
Jordan, go ahead and give him a call. But you guys are amazing. We love you. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Guys, thank you.